this here is pretty much all we need for our bigger jobs, our 4-camera live switching. So I'm so excited to share with you my live streaming kit. Now this is a kind of a poor man's kit. It is very functional. It probably doesn't look the best, but I tell you what, I've used this probably over 40 times at events, and it's been so much of a time saver, and just that feeling like everything that you need to live stream besides the camera and the internet is in the kit. So you bring this at an event, you know you're all wired up, all ready to go, and that you didn't forget something. So that's one of the nice things about this kit, is I try to keep everything in the kit that I need to live stream, so I didn't forget to pack some cables or something else. It's all in the kit: laptop, ATEM switcher, monitor, and all the connections are ready to go. Basically add your camera, add your internet, add your sound, audio, and you're ready to go. I actually pack my headphones in this kit. Sometimes I pack my hotspots in here, and so those parts are integrated. Now this setup can do 4 cameras and 6 different, and if you go each audio input for each camera, you can do 2 additional audio inputs. So you can do pretty big events with this setup. And I like using a laptop for live streaming. I just think you can just do so much more with that. But there are different devices out there right now that you eliminate the laptop and it's more streamlined. But I find the laptop works great with the ATEM switcher. It has a power strip in there, so all the connections there. So you just connect the case to one power source, and everything's powered up. So the case is very portable and very cheap. As you can see, I used a Ryobi toolbox. So that was, I don't know, $60 at Lowe's. And since it was so cheap, I had no problem drilling holes in it and really trying to get this unit up and running. To pick the case, I went and looked at all the different cases, made sure there was one big enough where I could mount a monitor. So I bought this Ryobi case, and the first part was obviously installing the monitor. I bought the hardware from Menards, and I just bought some bolts and connected that to the case. So for this case to work, I really wanted it to be put together as much as possible. So I mounted the ATEM's switcher right under the monitor, and I mounted it actually to the lid. So when you open up the lid, it's right there. It's ready to go. And I used some Velcro on the ATEM switcher. So if I wanted to use this ATEM switcher outside the case, obviously it's a Velcro, so you can just take it off. So picking this case, obviously it had to be big enough for a laptop. And it gets hot, so I wanted the laptop to have some airflow on the bottom of it. So installed bracket with some fans on it, and that goes into the power. So those fans are blowing on the laptop to keep it cool. But when in the case, it was a very tight fit. It was hitting the bottom of the ATEM switcher mount, and so I did some finessing, moved some stuff around, and actually what I did to get it to work even better is flip the diagonal the other way, so the laptop is the closest to you would be the higher part, and it goes down narrow, and that actually fits better when the cover is closed. It has more room there, so it actually worked good. And also when you're working on the workstation, to have that angle is better typing and stuff, so it worked out really well there. This particular toolbox, the lid isn't very sturdy, so I had to add the additional cables, which actually worked really well. However, it looks kind of bad. So that's one thing I didn't like, but in this case, function over appearance in this situation. So this particular monitor, you can have the 4 different inputs, And so you can see the 4 different inputs, and then you can switch it if you just want to see like the 1 camera input. So I picked this monitor because my particular switcher didn't have that on screen where it shows all the different cameras. It only has the 1 output, and that goes to the laptop. So you have 4 inputs going into the monitor and then 4 outputs going out to the ATEM switcher. When designing this, I thought it was important to have all the connections on the outside. So I wanted my HDMI cables on the outside. The way I designed it, it turned out this wasn't the greatest idea because when you're streaming, when you're putting together all the outputs on the other side, so if something's wrong or you're confused on what camera you plugged onto what, you have to like walk all the way around and look what cable's where, what goes to the camera, and so forth. So it was probably not the smartest thing to do. It was nice and clean, but also the way I usually set it up, I have to have like 10 or 12 foot HDMI cables to run to the back of the case instead of inside the case. So that was one thing I might do different. I would just have those inside the case. But this was a nice clean look, and so all the HDMI cables are on the outside for this case. When I drilled the holes and made the opening for the HDMI cables, all this stuff was in the box, so I had to clean it up, vacuum it out quick. That was a pain. So I mounted this bracket for the laptop to sit on, just so it stays in the case and doesn't move around. And then I put the Velcro on the bottom of the laptop and on the bracket so I can pull it off when I don't want it. Once I installed the bracket for the HDMI cables, I just had to run those to the input of the monitor, and then I had to run those 4 cables to the switcher from the output of the monitor. So it took a little bit of finesse, and it was a tight fit, but it worked out. So you have the 4 inputs going into the monitor and then going out of the monitor. I mount the monitor for final adjustments. I actually bought this monitor for live streaming, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have this case is I wasn't using the monitor when I was live streaming because it was just too much hassle to set it up. So I bought this nice monitor. I'm like, well, how can I make a live streaming kit so I integrate the monitor so I'm always using this cool monitor without having to like get to a job and do, you know, an hour of setup each time. Just didn't make much sense to me. So this kit eliminates a lot of that setting up at a job site. So you get there, you basically set up your cameras, plug in the HDMI cables to the port, and plug in this kit here, and you're ready to live stream like within minutes, basically. So as you can see in the kit, I have a power strip, and that has power to the laptop, the ATEMs, and the monitor. And it has 1 or 2 ports open for other things. Sometimes I have to plug a camera in there. I also I have enough room, so I put my headphones. So I always have headphones there in my kit ready to be used. I have hotspots usually I keep in there. So I have an AT&T hotspot and a T-Mobile hotspot. So also on the outside of the port, I added a Cat5 cable. You don't see it here, but I have a Cat5 cable, so you'd plug on the outside of the kit, and then that obviously there's a Cat5 cable on the inside of the kit going to the laptop, so you don't have to always plug that in if you're getting your internet from a Cat5 cable. So I have actually built this a little while back, and overall really happy with it. I've probably live streamed 40 different events with this kit. So the benefit is it kind of does what I wanted it to do. It's in a nice, cheap, economical package. I see some people on YouTube, they have these wonderful setups. Yeah, they're only $5,000 to $10,000. So this kit literally, really, you're just adding the case and some labor You for live streaming, you pretty much have a laptop, a switcher, a monitor's a nice to have. So you're not really adding too much more expenses, just adding a case and a little bit of labor, some money from bolts and brackets and so forth. Cables, I guess cables did run probably $30 to $50 for all the different cables I had. This case has everything I need to live stream 4 cameras, 2 additional audio inputs. So overall I was very happy with the setup. Impressed a few of my friends with it. One thing I did add with the cables, they always would get stuck when you shut it. They'd always be in the way. So you can see there I added a little rubber band that joined the 2 cables. So that kept them, when you shut it, they went in and they weren't in the way. So that was a nice hack I did. Now, the things I don't like about this setup is, one, it doesn't look very professional. When I'm at, so like I do funerals, I pull this up, I set it up, and I mean, it's fine. The green lid is not the best though, and you know, once they see the stuff in it, they can see it. You know, it's good quality, but the presentation isn't the best. So that's one thing I really don't like. The other thing, the case is a little awkward. I would love it if this had wheels on it, or if it'd be a little smaller, lighter. So that part is not the best. It's not that heavy, but it's a little awkward, kind of an awkward case. And, you know, with this case, I have to have another case for my cameras and tripods. So it still is a lot of stuff to carry to live stream. I'm actually designing a new option, kind of on this same idea, but better, has wheels, more integrated. So watch for that video to come out soon. But yeah, overall, I was very happy that I did this. I think it is well worth the effort I put into it and the money I put into it. Like I said, I probably filmed 40 events with this, and that was well worth it. Just the time savings of when you get there, setting up and packing up is so much reduced with this kit. Well worth it. Definitely recommend people put together something like this for themselves. Just putting stuff together, doing as much as you can beforehand. Then when you get to the live stream event, it's just basically hooking up your cameras and fixing your internet, and you're ready to go. So really happy with it. So I hope this helped you with giving you ideas for what you could do. And watch out for my new video about my new streaming kit. Hopefully it will be out soon. Thanks so much, and God bless.